Hello, folks. Welcome back. So happy to have you continue on with our weekly Wednesday webinars. Oh, excuse me. This week, our topic is a little more specialized in that we're really going to dig deep into an actual curriculum and its tools that we actually provide to schools and to teachers. And I think you're going to find at the end of this conversation, it's a really good deep dive into what we do. But I think you're going to find that if you're a computer teacher, this is a slam dunk. You need this, like you need air and water and food. I'm just going to say that. If you're a school administrator, you're going to want to figure out how to do this. This is what I think you're going to think. You know, we've been together for what, 2.5 months now. If you're a classroom teacher who's somewhat technical, this is also going to be something that you really want to figure out how to do. And if you're a classroom teacher who's not real technical, you're going to want to figure out how to get technical, because these are things that students just need. So anyway, I'm going to stop there before I don't want to give too much away. But again, we are still doing our weekly Wednesday webinars, free content for you, um, you know, to help prepare for the online learning environment. And I've been bringing these to you every week. And again, I'm Ernie with Beyond Technology Education. There's been some just fantastic content. And if you're interested in reviewing, rewatching, or sharing any of these webinars with your colleagues or your staff, please visit the Classroom Technology User Group, which is on Facebook. If you don't have a Facebook account, please email me directly, ernie@beyondk12.com. I'll give you another link. But feel free to watch them. And this is something that we do. You know, we've been working with schools and educators for over 16 years now, helping them prepare for a different future. We thought that was to be more of a career, you know, preparing students for a different future type environment. But here we are, online distance learning, and it is very different. And we have developed a model to help you upgrade your existing online learning model, or to develop one. Some of you, I know that's your job over the summer, is to create that. You know, there's no cost just to reach out to us for a free analysis, and we'll help you how to understand the major components to make this happen. We have resources, we have people, we have models, we have curriculums, we have strategies. Let us shorten the learning curve for you. And we could also, excuse me, and we could also help you find funding sources, which I know for a lot of you, at the end of the day, it comes down to time and money. We are very adept at doing that. Anyway, with that said, I'm going to change the presenter over to Jennifer, and I'm going to turn off my camera. You don't need to be watching me the whole time. And Jennifer has been with us for many years. She's our curriculum director, and she's developed this curriculum. This is I'm not sure, 7th year maybe that she's been in charge of this effort. And every year it gets better and better. And I've already listened to this presentation once, and boom, it's very impressive what she's developed. She's obviously knows what she's talking about, and she's passionate about it, not only because she's been in education most of her life, actually her entire career life, but she has children of her own and understands the value and importance of preparing our students for a different future. So with that said, I'm going to back off. Jennifer, enjoyed the webinar. Have a great one. And at the end of the session, there will be a question and answer period. So if you look at the question box on the panel, click there, ask your questions, and we'll get to them at the end of the webinar. All right, with that said, Jennifer, take over.
Thank you, Ernie, so very much. Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Gulich, and I'm so excited to be here today to really kind of go into a deep dive about our curriculum and how we approach teaching computer science. And I just want to give a little background about myself, and so you have an understanding of who I am before we get started with the presentation. I have 16 years experience in education. In that time of the 16 years, I've been an elementary teacher, and I've also taught in the secondary levels. I have been a professional development leader and helping schools across our California to equip their staff and their students with integrating technology into their content. I have also written hundreds of lesson plans that integrate technology for specific teachers. And I do think for maybe it's been at least 7 years, my sole focus has been developing curriculum. So I've really done a lot of research on instructional design, instructional strategies, computer literacy, computer science. I am a mother to 2 children. I have a third grader. My kids are about right. We're in summer, so they're going to go. My daughter's going to go into third grade, and my son is going to be going into sixth grade. And really, they're my motivation. I look at them; they're our future, and I want to make sure that not only my children, but everybody else's children are also equipped. One other thing about me that not a lot of people know is I am a substitute teacher in our local school district. And I love teaching. I love being around students. And I feel like teaching and subbing help me to really stay relevant in understanding the needs of our students and really how to incorporate that into a curriculum. I think it's really been able to help me see how content is delivered into the classroom and how to make our curriculum even better. And so why am I here? I really honestly, I have this love of learning. I'm just super passionate about education and about students and making sure that students are successful. So with that being said, I want to hop into our agenda for this discussion that we're going to have today. I'm going to go into a deep dive of our curriculum and what it looks like. But first, I really want to talk about our curriculum mission, our approach, how we have designed our computer science and curriculum character development. I'm going to talk about project-based learning, standard-based learning. I'm going to show you our curriculum model, and I'm going to also have visuals on our curriculum design and lesson layout. And then I'm going to do a walkthrough of our curriculum overview for next year, so you can really see firsthand what our comprehensive curriculum actually looks like. And then we're going to talk about equity and how we have an equal playing field. Okay. This is our mission. We are preparing students for their future pathways in life. This is not only the mission for the curriculum, but this is my personal mission, right? As a teacher, as an educator, and I would think that this really resonates with a lot of other educators, parents that are out there. Our job is to make sure we are preparing students to thrive in society, to be successful citizens, no matter which pathway they take. And not every student is going to take a computer science pathway, but there is a foundational component to it that will make them successful no matter what pathway they take. Now, this is our approach. Our approach is teaching computer science with 7 C's. Computer science is directly correlated a lot of the time with just coding or programming. You will hear of other curriculums out there or other programs out there that are solely focused on coding, programming, maybe even robotics, and that's how they're teaching computer science. There's been a lot of discussion to create a well-rounded, comprehensive curriculum and it has developed over time, right? Beyond Technology has been in business, I think, for 17 or 18 years. And we've really been able to see what works and what doesn't work and come up with a successful model. I want to spend a good chunk of time right now discussing each of these C's with you so you can see how we incorporate the C's in our computer science curriculum. Okay, the first C, computer literacy. What's computer literacy? Well, that's just really getting students to understand how to use a computer, right? Keyboarding, file management, basic computer operation. We're talking about word processing skills, multimedia skills, spreadsheets, and database skills. Just really having a good understanding of how to use a computer. And that's successful for anyone and everyone, and especially with our online learning that is taking place this current school year and potentially for next school year. Our computer science curriculum teaches computational thinking. And computational thinking, oh my gosh, it's so vital for our students in a real world experience. This is we're talking about complex problem solving. We're talking about data and analysis. This is where our coding and programming comes in that computational thinking. We also have projects that deal with augmented reality and virtual reality and robotics. That's all kind of falls under that umbrella of computational thinking. Computer competency. This is understanding how a computer works, knowing how a computer stores data. How does the computer do networking? How does the internet actually work? How to do troubleshooting, right? This is really making sure our students are competent in knowing how to use a computer and how it works. Our computer science curriculum is teaching creativity and design thinking. We're doing that by teaching the students presentation design. We're teaching them video production. We're teaching them graphic design, digital storytelling, photo editing, and creative communication. The next C to me is something that sets our computer science curriculum apart. We overtly teach character development. That is the content in which our computer science curriculum is all about. And especially right now in the world that we're living in, teaching our kids social emotional learning, teaching them life skills is so important. Our kinder through first grade, they walk through 8 life skills, such as integrity, self-control, kindness, respect. And our second through 8th graders, we have a rotating yearly theme that rotates responsibility, choices, etiquette, and goals. And I really feel that this is character development is an underlying current in a lot of schools. You know, they talk about it, they emphasize it. Is it in the content of curriculum? Not usually. So I really feel that's one huge component that sets our curriculum apart. We also teach digital citizenship. That's another C. We're navigating our students how to go down this highway of technology. We're talking to them about cyberbullying and online safety and strong passwords and plagiarism. And those are all really important skills that I feel that there's a lot of adults right now on the internet that do not have digital citizenship. So I really feel it's important to start young and to teach our students right from wrong. We also have a last C that's called Next Level Concepts, and we work with schools for concepts that maybe they're individually interested in, such as 3D printing or rocketry or AI, automation, that kind of thing. We do work and create personal instructional strategies for those concepts. I'm going to move on now. I want to talk about project-based learning. Our curriculum is project-based. Our students are making projects. It's project-based, taught by a teacher. This is not software-led. Our curriculum, you could not put the kids on a headphone, on a computer, and walk away. That is not what this curriculum is about. It's project-based. We are teaching student engagement, critical inquiry. We're increasing our students to get a deep dive into the content and to go through problem solving. We're collaborating together as a class, and the students are working out conversations and problems, and we're building up curiosity and creativity. We live in this project-based world, and I just want to say right now that this is not my graphic. I don't want to take ownership for this graphic, but I thought it was such a beautiful graphic. I wanted to share it with us. We live in this project-based world, and teaching project-based is so important for our students to really get a real world experience of being able to communicate and to be student-led in their and take ownership of their own learning process. And if you know me, you know that I'm really passionate about student engagement and getting students excited about their learning, and project-based learning really motivates students. Our curriculum is standard-based learning. There has been a lot of time, a lot of research to build this comprehensive curriculum that is built based on the standards. I'm not sure how many of you guys know this, but our California has adopted the CSTA computer science standards. They're not currently mandatory in our school environment, but they will soon become mandatory. And our curriculum meets every single computer science standard for K through 8th grade. I'm really excited about that. There's a lot of changes that happen to the curriculum this current school year to make that happen. Our curriculum also touches on the ISTE standards. You meet all of the ISTE standards if you're familiar with those standards. As our curriculum has evolved, Beyond Technology has built their own proprietary scope and sequence framework. We have our own learning objectives based on 10 computer literacy, computer competency, computer science skills. And the framework teaches emerging skills, teaches intermediate skills, teaches mastery skills based on grade level. The framework has been research-based, it's been tested. The level of the scope and sequence has been tested through different grade levels, and it really provides a well-rounded, comprehensive learning objectives to make sure that the students are and touching all of those 7 C's that I previously discussed. One unique feature as well about our curriculum is that all the projects are cross-curricular project-based in mathematics, in language arts, history, social science. So whether you are a technology teacher and you're implementing this in a technology environment, or if you are a classroom teacher implementing these projects in your own classroom, you can really tie in the projects to the standards that you're teaching in your own class. And because this curriculum really has literally everything in it, it is also used as a prep course. We have schools that use the curriculum to get certified in Microsoft Office and also in the G Suite certification. So that's real exciting. Okay, there's a lot of information here that I want to unpack. This is our curriculum model. I talked to you about our 7 C's that we, really approach computer science with. We just talked about how all of our curriculum is standards based and it's all project based. And this is kind of what it looks like, okay? We have 4 9-week units that are part of our curriculum. In each 9-week unit, the students are going to do between 2 to, usually it's 2 projects, and then they have a final assessment challenge that you can use as a diagnostic tool to measure student growth. Our units have a primary technology, and then they have a secondary technology that's really just kind of interweaved throughout all the projects. So let me kind of go through this table with you. Our first unit is all about presentation design. We're teaching the students primary technology of multimedia and video production. In our unit 2, we're talking about creative communication, teaching the students about word processing skills, website creation. Unit 3, analytical problem solving. We're talking about spreadsheets and database. Computer programming is our unit 4. We're talking about game design, block coding, JavaScript. Okay, these are the technologies that each unit is covering, right? The skills that we're going through. The secondary technologies, those are all just interweaved in every single project and throughout the steps. What really sets this curriculum apart, as I previously said, is that it's character development. The projects are overtly talking and discussing how to be of good character. The TK and Kinders, the projects revolve around being a good listener, showing kindness, being thankful, having integrity. First grade, being responsible, having self-control, showing perseverance, being respectful. Our TK and first grade, TK Kinder first grade, those never change. Those are 8 static character traits that by the time those students have completed first grade, they have gone through and they have a good understanding of what it means to be of those character traits. Our 2nd through 8th grade is a rotating theme. It changes every year. We have 4 rotating themes. This current year, for next school year, 2020-2021, is cultivating responsibility. We're going to be teaching these students about digital responsibility, personal responsibility, financial responsibility, social responsibility. So again, these are project-based. They're learning about the character developments using the technology, the primary technology with the secondary technology weaved through the projects. You will notice the bottom table is talking about softwares and web tools. We use a lot of different tools. When I used to teach, I would tell my students, it doesn't matter to just follow a lesson. You need to know why you're doing what you're doing. And if you know why you're doing what you're doing, you can apply that knowledge to anything. So in the same regard, we're using lots of different software, apps, web tools to teach the technology. We want the kids to learn the skills so that they can do it across the board, because in 10, 15 years, who knows what software is going to be around that they will be using. All right, this is a visual of our curriculum design. This is a sample of one project. This is the self-control project for first grade in our 2nd unit. And I'm going to take the time to really talk about our curriculum design and the lesson layout. This lesson layout has evolved so much, and it really provides a clear and effective lesson for each project. It really truly does give step-by-step instructions. I'm going to kind of just go through each section of the lesson layout so you understand how the lesson looks and what each section represents. The notes and prep section of each project is going to tell you how many classes it's going to take. The projects could take 2 to 3 class lengths in most cases. And it gives the instructor whatever information they need to get themselves ready to be able to teach the lesson. There's an engage section, which is really our attention grabber, right? That's our hook. We want to get the students' attention and ask them and start to think and ponder about, well, what's this lesson going to be? What's this content going to be? The teacher who's teaching this, the instructor, can literally read verbatim the engage section if they want, or they can take the information and they can make it their own. But it's all right there in the engage section. That's what I really, this curriculum has been purposely designed to alleviate any stress on the instructor, right? All the information and guidance is right here in this lesson layout. There is going to be an exploration section in each lesson that gives additional websites or tools to do maybe more of a deeper dive of content or technology area of focus for the teacher as the teacher sees fit. There is an additional emphasis section, and that section is going just to give a notice to certain features of the lesson that the teacher needs to make sure that they're calling out to the students. Okay, the learning outcomes is a special section of every single project that's going to tell us what the students are going to learn. The learning outcomes are directly aligned with the state standards, with our scope and sequence framework, and with any cross-curricular standards, language arts, mathematics. It's all going to be right there. And something that I do want to point out that I didn't mention, on the first page at the top of the lesson, you will see a little gray box. There are the California computer science standards directly right there that are tied into the lesson. And then you will see our own Beyond Technology learning objectives that are tied into our scope and sequence framework. Moving back to the second page, project steps. It can't get any easier than this. It's just like when you make a cake or something and you're following a recipe, step-by-step instructions to complete the project. And there's also a project pacing guide to help the teachers make sure that they are on the same pace with the students to finish within the right amount of time. Every lesson ends with a reflection. This reflection is for students and for teachers to come and bring the conversation full circle, right? To do a check for understanding, to really maybe answer any additional questions or review any hot topics that may have come up, and for students to really understand the assignment and how it all ended up. The extension section. The extension section, the extend, is this is one area that we really want to try to level the playing field for all students, and this is for differentiated instruction. There's always going to be an extend section where there's going to be guidelines or some additional steps that the teacher can do to help make modifications to the curriculum for different students' needs. And then in every project, you will always see a template and a sample image to make sure that you know what the project is and that you are right on track with completing it. Okay, that is our curriculum design in a nutshell. Every lesson will look the same. I kind of just want to get into the actual curriculum now for 2021. We're going to walk through. I have a lot of content. I know this is so much information. I hope you're following along. I'm going to have some visuals as well, as our curriculum is so comprehensive and so detail oriented. Our unit 1 is digital responsibility, and its focus is presentation design. Students are going to do the storytelling, the voice recording, video production. We're going to be using Canva, Spark, WeVideo. We are going to spend the first project across all grade levels for Unit 1 is a technology introduction and review. We are going to spend time talking about computing systems, networks and the internet, impacts of commuting. For lower levels, we're talking about mouse skills, mouse practice, how to navigate that mouse, keyboarding, instruction, and introduction. And of course, this unit, it overtly talks about digital citizenship, right? Digital responsibility. How can we be responsible with digital information? TK in kindergarten, their theme is listening. First grade is responsibility, and 2nd through 8th grade is digital responsibility. Okay, let me get into some visuals now. This is actually the kindergarten project, talking about when they listen, they can learn. And if you can just look at the visual, you will notice that the students are practicing some real world experience. If you know anything about TK or kindergarten in a technology environment, they are just beginning to learn how to type. They're just beginning to learn their letters, their uppercase and lowercase letters. So we are beginning to walk that process with them for them to understand how to log on to a computer or to a device is really important. How the letters that they would need to know, how to do their name in the home row. We're also talking to them about how to format, right? This is presentation design. How to move things around and and how to make things bigger and smaller. The things that maybe you and I take for granted, these are the things that in TK and kindergarten they really need to learn. These are the computer literacy skills for them, and we're doing it by telling them, when you're listening, you're learning. These are all the things that you're learning because you're listening. In our 2nd through 6th grade, they're going to be making presentations that talk about being digitally responsible. They're going to go through finding the best search results, right? We're going to teach them, how do you search online? And especially right now when we're in this online learning and our kids are just going online like crazy, it's so important to teach them really how to find the best information and to be able to weave out not necessary content. We're going to talk to them about cyberbullying, what it is, what it looks like, plagiarism. They're going to talk about digital footprint, making strong passwords, being digitally making a pledge. And when you look at this visual, this is a 3rd to 4th grade sample. All of our projects have templates and samples for the younger grade levels. There's content on here that will be provided. They add content in all of our lessons. They're doing research. They're using different web tools to build up their projects. And in this grade, in 5th, 6th grade, they're going to be making their presentations using an alternative type of presentation tool like Canva or Spark, something of that nature. It's hard to tell, but this little girl in this I am responsible digital citizen. She's actually an animation, so they're going to learn how to do some animation. They're going to put voice recording on their presentations. And I'm moving on to 7th and 8th grade. Their conversation could not be more relevant. The 7th and 8th graders are going to be doing a deep dive into media literacy. They're going to learn what that actually means, how to be able to evaluate all the types of media that are being thrown at them, and how to spot out credible information versus fake information. They're going to do a lot of understanding how to be a critical thinker of media, and then they're going to make a factor, they're going to make a fact or fiction news story, a video. They're going to make a video with a fact or fiction news story, and their peers are going to have to evaluate if it's really fact or fiction based on certain criteria that they have already learned about. That's our Unit 1. Our Unit 2 moves into talking about personal responsibility. How are you responsible for yourself? We're doing that through creative communication, informative writing. Students will make booklets, comic strips, social media posts, personal website. Technology focus, we're going to teach our students about keyboard shortcuts, web design principles. And we're also going to have some the character development themes for TKK is kindness. 1st grade is self-control, and 2nd through 8th grade is personal responsibility. TK 1st grade, here's some visuals for you. Our kindergartners are going to talk about ways to be kind. In the first project, they're going to have those 7 practical ways to show kindness to others. The writing will already be in the project because we know that kindergartners are still beginner typers. But they're going to be focusing on print and language art standards such as capitalization, spacing, punctuation. They're going to be changing the font and the font design. They're going to be learning those word processing skills. They're going to make a informative writing. There's going to be words already there, and then they're going to fill in their paragraph, and they're going to talk about how to be a kind friend. They're going to, circle map it all out, and then they're going to do their informative writing based on the language art standards for TK and kindergarten. 1st grade is going to be talking about self-control, identifying it, and knowing what causes you to lose self-control. They are going to make a informative writing about how they show self-control. And in this project, you will see that there's a hand-drawn illustration. Students are going to make a hand-drawn illustration or a digital illustration. And we're going to take all of the paragraphs and make a class booklet of how each student can show self-control. When we move up into our 2nd to 6th grade students, they're going to be talking about what personal responsibility, what it is, what it looks like. They're going to give examples. They're going to reflect on it. They're going to use keyboard shortcuts. You will see that in 2nd grade, they're going to make a booklet. I can be responsible for me. They're going to cut that up and make it into a booklet. They can use some little, this is a digital illustration, but they can also use hand-drawn illustrations. The 3rd through 4th graders are going to make a comic strip about how they can be responsible. And the 5th, 6th grade, they're going to do a social media post showing how they're personally responsible for themselves. And then they're going to have class collaboration and by having peers do some responses. So that's real exciting and fun. When we move into the 7th, 8th grade, they are going to make a personal website. They're going to not only learn web design principles, but they're going to make this website that shows how they have personal responsibility. It's going to be the best of them. And I really think that they're going to get super excited about this little digital portfolio that they're going to be able to make about themselves, all the while learning about technology. I'm going to move into our Unit 3, Financial Responsibility, which is such an important unit. Financial responsibility is something that everybody can learn about. We're going to learn about financial responsibility through analytical problem solving. We're going to do prioritizing needs and wants. The students are going to make some budgets. We're going to focus on complex problem solving. They're going to do data analysis with some advanced formulas. The character development themes, the TKK is thankfulness, 1st grade is perseverance, and 2nd through 8th grade is financial responsibility. Okay, in TK 1st grade, so exciting. Our little TKers and kindergartners are going to sort out, there's going to be all these little icons, and they're going to sort out what they're most grateful for. They're going to be able to use math functions, they're going to add them up, and they're going to be able to analyze their data. They are also, as a class, going to talk about what they are most thankful for and analyze that information. 1st grade, they're going to discuss perseverance, what it is, what it sounds like, write the phrases, what it looks like. They're going to keep track of how they show perseverance, how many times they show perseverance, and then they're going to put that in a visual chart. They're going to then use the mathematical formulas and math functions to analyze their data. They are also going to have a class survey on certain scenarios, understanding if it's really perseverance or not. Our 2nd through 6th grade students. These students are going to be practicing staying on budget in different ways. Our 2nd graders, up in the corner, you will notice their project. They're going to get groupings of budgets, and down at the bottom, they're going to see different food options, and they're going to try to figure out the different food options that they could buy with some formulas built in to figure out the total cost if they stayed within that amount or not. They are also going to do a project on currency, understanding the value of the coins and the dollar, and adding it all up, which is right there with the math standards. Our 2nd grader, or I'm sorry, our 3rd and 4th graders are going to get to go grocery shopping online. They are going to find items that are needs that you need to have, nutrient items, and then they're going to have items, they're going to categorize want items. They're going to find out how much money each of those items cost, and then they're going to figure out how much money they actually spent on their needs versus how much money did they spend on their wants. Did they buy all candy and no, fruits and vegetables, that kind of thing. They will also create their own budget and understanding money that comes in and money that goes out. Our 5th and 6th grade will be creating a travel destination with a budget, a set budgeted amount for a travel destination. And this is where our social science content comes in. 5th grade US history, 6th grade world history. The teacher is going to get to decide where the students are traveling to based on what they're learning in their classroom environment. And they're going to work through different categories to decipher how they can break down their budget and if they overspent or not once they do their research that is needed for that project. Our 7th, 8th grade is doing a real life simulation. They're going to choose a career with a connected salary. They're going to go online and they're going to find a salary that's connected to that career. Then they get to choose the type of home that's also connected with a monthly amount and utility amount. Then they also choose a vehicle, again, connected to a monthly payment and costs. And they're going to use those options to then see if they can make their money last over an entire month. In the simulation, they're going to have bills to pay, they're going to have to donate money, and then they're going to just have some extra money choices that they're going to have to spend their money on. They're going to learn how to balance a budget, keep a bank ledger, and really understand the differences between needs and wants when you have to break out your money like that. Okay, Unit 4. Unit 4, you're probably wondering, we haven't really gotten to coding and programming yet, right? We've talked a lot about computer literacy, character development, digital citizenship. We've done a lot of talking about creativity and design thinking. And our Unit 4 really ties in to computer programming. That's all what our Unit 4 is. We're teaching the kids about game design, block coding, coding concepts. Our character development is integrity, being respectful, and social responsibility. And what social responsibility means is your responsibility towards others, your community, and your environment. Okay. I apologize right now that these pictures are so small, but I was trying to squeeze them all in on the slideshow. I am so excited because this is the first year I'm unveiling this coding companion book. A lot of time went into creating and designing this book, and I'm very excited for these connection activities. Our state standards have very complex concepts they want to teach to all grade levels. And how do you do that? I have broken up these concepts into connection activities where they're learning and manipulating and understanding how the concept is. Then they're going to apply their knowledge to solve coding puzzles using coding software. And they will then, in that coding software, design a plan to solve a problem, and they will develop, right, their programming. They're going to develop their lines of code, and that will demonstrate that they understand computer programming. But this coding companion book, this is proprietary to our curriculum. It's something that I worked really hard to develop, and I'm super excited about it. I know that there's other programs out there that do something similar, but this is all based on the computer. So that's why they're called connection activities. Our 3rd through 8th grade also has a coding book, and it's really super small. Again, I apologize for that, but there's some, I hope you can see some of the concepts such as variables and conditionals and loops and events. They're really, the coding companion book, again, for these grade levels is really just for students to get in, to get their hands wet, to really understand the concepts before you put them in a coding environment, such as, you know, Scratch or say code.org. There's so many coding environments out there, but and we could teach kids to code all day long. I mean, it's easy. It's easy, right? Anyone that's done Hour of Code knows that a kid will follow coding step by steps, but the coding companion books are giving students a real understanding of why they're doing what they're doing and to really understand it so they can now take the concepts and apply it to anything that they're doing, and they can create something on their own. So our 3rd through 8th grade curriculum in our Unit 4 looks a little bit different because we do have different schools that have focused differently on coding and programming. And we have some schools that have 3rd graders that are very advanced, and we have some schools that have 8th graders that are still beginners. So we have a beginner curriculum and an advanced curriculum. And once the students go through the coding books and they understand the different coding concepts, we're going to move into game design using Microsoft MakeCode Arcade. That is the platform that this curriculum is built on. However, because you're learning how to do and why, you can use it in any really platform. But the students are going to design and develop a game that solves a social problem, such as like an injustice or environment, like somebody littering. If you're a beginner, you're going to use a template. You might be using block coding. If you're on the advanced level, you're going to be using the JavaScript starting from scratch to develop your coding game. And so that really kind of wraps up our coding concepts in our Unit 4. Before I get to this point about our curriculum, I do want to say that all 4 of our units are not tied into each other in the meaning that you can move them around however you see fit. So if you wanted to do Unit 4 first and Unit 1 last, you could do that as well. Is really important, and it's a conversation that's going on in all educational environments about making sure our students, are able to get the same instruction no matter the background or who or what. And our curriculum provides that. We provide the differentiated instruction on a very down-to-earth sense. We provide LMS integration into any LMS system that you have. We provide printed and online resources, and we work with you, your school, your environment, to make sure that you get that personalized implementation, that whatever your needs are, we can accommodate that. Before I wrap up, I just want to share these words to inspire you. This really is one of my life mottos. I heard it at a teaching conference, and it has stuck with me for a very long time, and it really is what drives me and is in my conscience when I know that I could do better. So you can read this yourself, but as we're wrapping this conversation up about this curriculum, and really some of us are maybe ending the school year, some of us maybe have started this summer, to really begin thinking about how we're going to model and shape our students for next year. Maybe this is the words to inspire you and set some summer goals. And with that, Ernie, I'm going to turn it back to you.
Okay. Well, Jen, I'm inspired. I especially love the Angelou quote to end it off. Fantastic. Um, I do want to make a couple clarifications, just things I listened to and heard along the way. And one of the things that I'm finding at a lot of schools is that they're getting into the fancy stuff. And when I say fancy, I see a lot of robotics programs. I see a lot of makerspace programs. I see a lot of 3D printers, which are fantastic. If you've gotten to that level, these are awesome tools, STEM labs, etc. But I want to make sure that you're not abandoning these other concepts. Students need to know how to format a document. They need to know how to use formulas in a spreadsheet. They need to know how to manipulate data with the database, graphic design, etc. So, as we're preparing students for the future, and I've even talked to programmers about this, a well-rounded programmer understands all these other things as well. So, if I could stress something with you is you need to have a balanced approach to computer science and computer literacy, and not put everything in one basket. And STEM, STEAM, those are important elements, but not if you're going to abandon what I consider the foundational things, which is what Jennifer was talking about in most of her conversation today. That's one point I wanted to make. The other point is that our program, this computer science, computer literacy model, this isn't software. This is a program. This is a curriculum, and it uses for it to really work. There's a lot of apps and websites and web tools that we use, but foundationally it requires either Microsoft 365 or Office, or it requires Google G Suite, or it requires Apple products. You need to have one of those three for it to effectively work. It works on the iPad as well. But it's not software per se. There are digital resources, but it's a curriculum, which are lesson plans and templates and links. That's another clarification I wanted to make. And also something that Jennifer mentioned, but I wanted to really point out, is that it's all based on a scope and sequence. So, it's fascinating whenever we share this model with educators and they come in, and maybe if they watch some of our students in action. We're actually doing principles of spreadsheets in kindergarten, rows and columns. Everything we do that Jennifer talked about, we start in kindergarten. And I like to compare that to math. I mean, we start basic counting in math. We start basic math skills like counting in kindergarten, first grade. We start, addition, subtraction in first, second grade. And by the time students get to, sixth grade or middle school, they're doing, geometry or algebra or something advanced. But we build on skills, and that's what we do in our curriculum through a scope and sequence. And I'm especially excited about our new approach to coding. We have partnered in the past in a limited sense with code.org, which has amazing resources. Jennifer has really put some effort into developing our own coding resources. So I'm really excited about that. And then the last thing I want to point out, and Jennifer, if you want to really chime in on our support and our online community. When we provide curriculum and we sell curriculum to schools, we don't just give you a binder or some digital resources or links and say good luck. It comes with training and support. And what we have found is that, especially a computer teacher or a technical classroom teacher, they love the fact that now they have someone that they could reference, someone to talk to, Q&A, and be part of a learning community of technology, computer science users. And we also do have an online support community. It uses a system called Basecamp. All of our teachers have access. And it's a great way for teachers to be able to ask questions and get answers from their peers. But Jennifer, do you want to add anything to the support and online community that I just mentioned, or anything I mentioned?
No, I think you did an excellent overview right there. Yes, I feel like our online support really connects us as a community and carries the curriculum throughout the school year. Not only am I providing a lot of tips and tricks and resources, but I do feel that the teachers use it to connect with each other and to be very collaborative about what's working, their own take on certain things, and it really just elevates the curriculum in a whole new way.
Real good. So, yeah, as you could tell, it's a program. It's a really a way to elevate your instruction, especially in this day and age where we're looking at hybrid models, where students might be learning from home sometimes, learning from school sometimes. Being able to master digital tools is not only going to be important for their futures, but important for their presence, so they can be more effective learners, and teachers can be a little more sophisticated in how they educate. So, thank you, Jennifer, again. Great presentation. And I haven't seen any questions come through. I think it was a really thorough presentation. We will make this video available to you later this afternoon or this evening, and we will send out a link to everyone who registered. So I appreciate you coming. If you have any other questions, please reach out to us. You could find us at beyondk12.com. And with all that, I think we're done. Jennifer, great job.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great afternoon.